Hey y'all, it's Liz from Blue and Hazel and welcome to my homeschool channel. Today I wanted to show you just like what is in our current reading pile. I always keep a list of books like by the couch in my sitting spot, I call it. It's like where I spend a lot of the day reading out loud to the kids, or where I spend like periodic moments throughout the day reading to the kids, I should say. So if it's there by the couch, then it's really easy for me to just bring my cup of coffee, sit down and say, okay, we're gonna read for 10 minutes. We're gonna read for 15 minutes. We do a ton of reading out loud in our homeschool, and I've kind of gravitated towards doing a lot more of that so that I can combine everybody together. So like all of our history, all of our science/nature study is done from like me reading out loud. Then I also have like a chapter book that we're always going through. For our language arts, we have like, we use the Brave Writer darts for that, and they're arrows as well. And so there's always some kind of like storybook that we're reading through just through that. And then usually a few other like picture books, sometimes like a poetry book. We do our Bible story every morning. So I feel like the stack is somehow growing, and so we are spending a lot of time reading out loud together. But I feel like that is time well spent, and everyone that I keep listening to who has older kids, you know, they're just encouraging young homeschool moms to read more out loud to their kids and worry less about everything else. I'm kind of holding on to that and trusting that that is going to be really beneficial in our homeschool. I like that we get to spend time together. I like that we learn all together. I am learning right with my kids. I am reading a lot of these novels for the first time along with them, and so I just feel like it benefits us. It benefits us all, and I know that it's going to help us just in a lot of ways. And since we have third grade, second grade, kindergarten, and a 2-year-old, we have a ton of interruptions. Like that just really happens a lot. So I'm learning to be more flexible if I need to take a break and just pause, say it's not working out. But also, like they are totally allowed to move and wiggle. We have an indoor swing. They have like magnet tiles they can build. They have Legos or snap ships they can bring out. Sometimes calico critters. Those are in our living room spread all over the floor right now. And if they want to draw or color, that is also something that can help them pass the time. Probably the worst thing is to not have anything, like any type of invitation for them to play in the room. So usually before we start, I'll say, go grab something to do and meet me back here. And that just kind of helps. And I think also it's a learned skill. My newly turned 6-year-old, he oftentimes doesn't need to be listening to a lot of this, and I don't make him, but he's like right around the corner. So he is starting to absorb some of those things as he listens in, and then as he gets a little bit older, I think he'll be more interested in some things and want to sit in with us. So let's go ahead and show you what we use. Okay, so this would be like a typical stack that just sits on here, and I just kind of brought this over from the side of the couch to show you in the film. But what I have here is Egermeier's story Bible book, and we start our morning with this, and we read one quick story from this inside each day. Usually it's about a page, maybe 2 pages, and it's not like full of pictures or anything, so it's mainly just we read about it, we pause and summarize it, and then I usually ask them before we start today's story. I say, what was our story from yesterday? And then we try to recall it, or I'll give them a reminder. The next thing I have in my stack here is actually just a poetry book, and I think poetry books at the library are totally hit and miss, and this one is really cute and really fun. You can see the poems have great pictures. Every single one has picture. They're silly, and they all rhyme. So I love rhyming poetry, especially since we're kind of new to reading poetry, and these ones are silly and funny. The next one that we are reading through is actually our read aloud book from our Brave Writer Arrow called Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. It's pretty thick, and you can see a lot of reading for me, but the descriptions in here are incredible, and I feel like this is just exactly what Julie Bogart is talking about when she wants to get good literature in your hands to read to your kids. So we're just gonna go as slow as I need to go through this, and I think someone actually already requested this at the library, so we may end up reading about half of this and then finishing the second half with an audiobook. Because I don't want to be rushed to read through it. Another book that we have in our stack, like I said, we do history read alouds, and This is where we spend a lot of time actually reading about history. I don't think the kids necessarily know it's history school time, unless I'm reading from this particular book, then they know it's our history time. But this is Master Books America's Story 2, and for history, I just read through this in the morning, and we don't read super long, maybe a page to 2 pages at a time. Another book in my pile that I have that is historical, has nothing to do with what we're learning time frame wise with the Civil War, but this book here is a really fun book we've been reading through. We're about 3/4 of the way done, and it really just has taught us who this Greek man was that was kind of the father of medicine a long time ago. So the stuff that he came up with basically became like grandfathered in as fact, even though a lot of it was wrong, for over 1,500 years. They didn't know about germs and anything like that. So this is really interesting. Okay, so this is a book that we are working through just at our own pace, maybe a couple stories a week, not every day or anything. And it's so fun because these stories are just wild, and a lot of our modern day stories actually come from these old Greek myths. And so I don't know who these people are. I didn't grow up with a lot of this, and so this has been really a hoot to read together. And this is a book that I have in my stack right now, and we, this is a thin one that will get rotated in and out with other books, but I just thought it was a cool true story, The Man Who Built a Library, and here's kind of what it looks like inside. Got some really nice pictures, dates, anyways. And then last but not least, this is the last book in my stack. This is, you'll notice, a unique California version of Aesop's Fables. And so it's been remade for kind of having some of the animals and places to reflect California. Today we read 2 of these while the kids were playing Magna-Tiles during the baby's nap. And so we read The Tortoise and the Hare, and The Jay and the Peacock, and just these short little stories that teach lessons, and they have such intriguing pictures. Like my 6-year-old, who oftentimes doesn't want to listen to stories, he came right up and wanted to see the pictures because the pictures are amazing. So we will work through these, and like I said, we just usually have a big chunk in the morning where we do our read alouds, more like our Bible and our schoolwork, and then other points during the day, whenever I can, I generally just try to find a time when we can read together. So a lot of times that'll be like an evening read, maybe a late afternoon read while the baby's napping. So it changes, each day. I will try to leave the links to any of those books for you to find, and you can check your library for the free version of them as well. If this is something you want to see more of, like, our book hauls are always changing and rotating, and I'd be happy to do a, like once a month type of thing where you can kind of see like what we're reading now type of thing. So I know I enjoy those updates from people just because it gives me good ideas on like books that I wouldn't have known existed. So I'd be happy to do that. Just let me know in the comments. Also, be sure to subscribe for more homeschool videos. I would love to have you stick around and get notified when we make new videos.